Hey everyone, this is Mackenzie. I'm the Director of Client Experience here at FreeUp. Thank you all for attending today. We're going to get started in just a few minutes here. So we're going to give some time for more people to join the room and then we'll get started. All right, so we have a few more people joining us now. Gonna wait for the room to fill up a bit. Like what I just mentioned, for those of you who just joined, my name is Mackenzie. I'm gonna be the main person presenting today. I'm the Director of Client Experience here at FreeUp. And I'm on today as well with Garrett. A lot of you guys have probably talked to him before. He is our Director of Business Development.
Hey guys, Garrett here. Second part of this duo for the day. Great to be here today. I'm so glad you can all join us. We got some really good stuff in store for you today. Just to elaborate on what Mackenzie said and give you a little context regarding my role here at FreeUp. I spend the majority of my time communicating directly with clients like you. So I'm on the front lines, I'm fielding questions, listening to your feedback. I can say unequivocally that this project management, SOP advice, these are really the two most common areas of inquiry that I get. So stay tuned today, guys. I think you're really going to find a lot of value in what we have to share with you today. If you have any questions over the duration of this webinar, please feel free to jump in that chat. I'll be monitoring that and trying to answer your questions as best as I can. And with that, I'll pipe down and let Mackenzie dive in here.
Yep, we definitely have the chat up and running. Garrett's going to do the best he can to get to all of your questions. Apollo actually just asked us a question of how long the webinar will take. I practiced it earlier today, and it ran for about, I would say, 20 to 30-ish minutes. So it won't take too long. We tried to jam it pack full of answers to questions that we frequently get from you all. But if we don't get to any of your questions today as well, don't hesitate to schedule a consultation with Garrett. We went ahead and put the link in the chat, freeup.net/meet. So you can schedule a consultation with Garrett or any of our other amazing account managers anytime there. So we hope that you all are doing well. We're going to go ahead and get started. Wherever you're located, we hope that you all are staying safe. We know that there's a lot going on for businesses right now with the coronavirus. And here at FreeUp, during this time, we really just want to be a resource for you and your businesses, whether you're scaling up, scaling back, or really just looking to diversify right now. We're here to answer any questions that you might have and how we can help you all out. So like what I mentioned before and what Garrett mentioned, our main goal is to just answer some common questions that we receive from clients and share some tips on how to effectively manage freelance teams and also how to create standard operating procedures. We get that question a lot. So let's go ahead and dive into it. Who are we? Who's Garrett and Mackenzie? So we went into this a little bit earlier, but for those of you who had just logged on to the webinar, my name is Mackenzie. I'm the Director of Client Experience here at FreeUp. I run our sales team, our client support team, live chat, pretty much anyone who you're communicating with, I help to kind of oversee. So if you ever have any questions or concerns, never hesitate to reach out to me directly. I try to make myself as available as possible. Garrett is on the webinar answering some questions in the chat. He is our Director of Business Development. He's awesome. He can do a deep dive into your business, talk with you directly one-on-one about what you might be needing, how we can help you scale up your team by using freelancers. What is FreeUp? Most of you guys probably already know who we are, but for those of you who don't, here at FreeUp, we're a marketplace that helps to connect you with ideally the top 1% of freelancers in the world. So one of the biggest struggles that people run into when they're hiring freelancers is finding the best ones. You have to filter through a ton of different freelancers. Our goal is to take care of the majority of the search and vetting process for you to save you as much time as possible. So let's get into this and talk about when you should hire a freelancer and what types of projects you should hire them for. Here at FreeUp, we like to break down freelancer projects into two different types. So we have repeated tasks, and then we also have higher level projects. Repeated tasks, these are going to be ones where you already have processes in place. The task is repeated either every day, week, or month, and it can be easily predicted as well. So this might be answering emails, data entry positions, audits, anything like that. Anything that is used to keep the day-to-day business running. Then we also have higher level tasks or higher level projects. These are going to be ones that you do not have the skills specifically to perform yourself. They're typically also going to be more on the creative side as well. This might include, graphic design, web development, or PPC. So let's get into repeated tasks and how we can easily manage freelancers that are doing this. So for repeated tasks, some examples of these are going to be customer service positions, like answering emails, phone calls, live chat, and then also data entry. You may also see this in spreadsheet management, order placing, anything along those lines. We frequently get asked questions of what exactly these titles might be to hire for. So the most common one is going to be virtual assistants. You may also have customer service representatives, data entry specialists, or sales representatives. So when you're on FreeUp and you go to submit a new job request for freelancers who do these repeated tasks, you're going to be looking to hire someone who is in the basic to mid-level ranges, depending on the task that you have. If you ever have any questions on what level to hire, just shoot us over an email or schedule a quick consultation, and we're more than happy to help you determine that. So now the main way to manage these tasks in freelancers is going to be by creating standard operating procedure documents, or otherwise known as SOPs. Now, it's going to be super important to note that SOPs and operation docs are actually very important for your business, even if you don't have any freelancers working for you. SOPs are going to ensure that if you or anyone in your company isn't able to work, the company can still continue to run as instructions are already built out and there for people to take over. So I'm going to go ahead and break down the basics of what we put into our SOPs here at FreeUp, and then also show you some examples. As you can see from this first slide, I like to break SOPs down into three main categories. So the first section, I like to list any KPIs, key performance indicators. This includes timing and then also any reports that the freelancer should send us. The second is going to be a very detailed instruction on how to complete the task at hand. And then the third section is one that we actually see missing from a lot of SOPs. It's going to be any additional resources that might help, and also all of the points of contact that the person might need to reach out to in this position. So the goal of SOPs is to organize as much information as possible into one area for freelancers to reference. That way they don't have to constantly reach out to you for questions. So the first section on timing and reporting, here is where I include any KPIs for the role. So like what I mentioned before, these are key performance indicators. Essentially, it's how much work should be done for every hour that is billed. How often I want for the freelancer to send me a report. I love to talk about this part because this has been probably one of the biggest things that has helped me personally with managing a freelance team. I'm huge on self-reporting. This will save you a ton of time when it comes to auditing the freelancers. Here at FreeUp, we actually have what we call a Monday report, which is a running Google Doc, which each team enters their reports for every week on Monday. This helps us because it is the number one thing that we review weekly, and it only gives us one area that we have to review versus having to look all over the place and find all of these different reports and follow up with the freelancers. It also provides us with a running list of expectations for each position and department, so we can easily reference back to statistics time over time and year over year. It's also a really good outlet for our team members to listen to any wins or losses that they've had, as well as any roadblocks that they're running into or any resources that they may need. Large reports like this running on a Google document are beneficial if you have a larger team of freelancers. For example, here at FreeUp, we have about 40 virtual assistants working with us. But if you only have one or two, you can always just have them send you a daily or weekly report via email. As long as you have it documented in writing is the most important part. So here's actually an example of a timing and reporting section that I have for a position here at FreeUp. You can see from the top, we like to keep things very organized and use similar naming formats for every document. We also like to include a general description of what the role is for as well. I then include the KPIs and reporting expectations and keep everything as organized as possible into a table so that way it's very easy to read. The next part of the SOP are the instructions for how to actually complete the task. I can't emphasize this enough. This is probably the most important part of the SOP. Be as detailed as possible in this section. For task instructions, we actually recommend doing it in two parts. The first is a Loom video, which shows the task being done in real time. And the second is a written out guide of step-by-step instructions with actual screenshots. You can read here, again, what I recommend that you put in here. You can also include a frequently asked questions section as well. Just basic questions that people who have done this position in the past have run into. So again, here's a screenshot of an example. You can see up at the top, I include a Loom video that they can see through a walkthrough. And then right below, I list the step-by-step instructions with very detailed screenshots. An important thing to note on the screenshots is to point out directly where they need to go to access specific information or accomplish specific tasks. You can also see that I have numbered it 1, 2, and 3 so they can see step-by-step what exactly it is to do. And then there are also links out to other important documents. The next part of the SOP is, again, like what I mentioned before, I always see this part missing and it is so important. Provide your freelancers with as many resources as possible. So this additional resources section include any links to resources that they may need, so that way everything is just located in one place. They're not having to ask you questions. They're not having to Google different ways to be more effective. This can be canned responses that they have to use. If you have a knowledge base for your business, that's a great thing to include. Any login information or applications needed. It'll save you so much time in the future. It'll give them a place where they can reference it versus having to reach out to you or your team leaders constantly for questions. As well as any points of contact for the company or project. I always like to include a backup point of contact. That way, if I'm ever offline, the freelancer knows exactly who to go to and who to reach out to in order to keep working. Saves myself time, saves the company time, and it saves the freelancer time as well. Always remember, they're a business operating as well. They need to move at a quick pace also. So again, here's an example for you. You can see right there I've listed points of contact for the CRM data entry position. Myself, any issues that come up need to be escalated to me. And then I also included one of our amazing leaders here at FreeUp, Jane. So she's going to be the main point of contact for any daily questions on the system for this freelancer. And then the weekly report is to be sent to Jane. I also included different important links for this specific position. So a training document just on our CRM, where that way they can log in and read up on where other things might be located. Daily tracking spreadsheet, knowledge base, and then also some important keyboard shortcuts that might be able to help them move faster in this role. So now, since I brought up Jane, I want to talk a little bit about team leaders real quick, because this is huge for managing larger freelance teams. In my opinion, if you have 4 or more freelancers working on daily tasks for your business, just assign a team leader. I highly recommend assigning a team leader or point person to help you. Here at FreeUp, I'm just going to straight up say it, we would be nothing without our team leaders. They are how we have been able to scale up to the size that we have. What they do is they help the teams and answer any daily questions that the team members might have. They help us with our audits and making sure that just daily operations are running smoothly. This is really important because this allows for us to focus on larger projects such as platform changes and research and development. So now that we've talked about the types of freelancers who help with daily tasks and daily operations, let's jump in real quick on how to hire and manage freelancers for higher level projects. Typically, freelancers for higher level projects are more self-operating. There's not going to be as much management involved with this. However, it is important to still stay on top of stuff. When you're hiring through FreeUp, these are going to be your freelancers who are in the mid to expert level ranges. So for example, I mentioned this before, it's going to be your web developers, PPC, people running PPC campaigns, helping you with SEO, graphic designers, audio and video production, also any type of consulting or management. Here at FreeUp, we actually have some Amazon consultants, we have sales consultants, project managers, all of the above. They're a little bit more creative and they're going to be working on growing your business and implementing new processes, not just taking over processes that already exist. So when you go to higher level freelancers and project managers, you do want to do some initial research, especially if you are hiring for a project that you're not very familiar with. I really recommend getting familiar with the terminology and really getting familiar with what it is that you're looking for. You can also ask the advice of others who have hired in these areas before. Ultimately, for these tasks, I really recommend scheduling a consultation with us, especially someone like Garrett or Jan. We can give you advice on what to expect when it comes to pricing and also the details for before you place your job ticket. A lot of people actually don't know this, but we can actually submit your job ticket for you after doing a deep dive with you into your business, figuring out your needs, and then what actually is going to be the most effective for your business. In the interview process, when you're looking at hiring some higher level freelancers, you're going to want to come up with common agreements based on what your business needs, and then also what the freelancer knows that they can provide. So it's really trying to figure out that common ground. It can be helpful to document specific milestones and how many hours are expected to be billed per milestone. This will help both you and the freelancer stay on the same page, so that way you both understand what is expected from a billing standpoint and a project development standpoint. It's important to note that some freelancers in this category are going to need some time to do research for your project and research your business. I do recommend being open to paying for an initial consultation period just to get the best results possible for your business. And I can't emphasize this enough. Always receive all quotes and expectations when it comes to billable hours, everything like that in writing. It's completely fine to do the initial conversations over the phone, but make sure before you guys start work together, have the final expectations in writing, just so that way they can be referenced in the future if you need to, or if the freelancer needs to as well. So when you're working with freelancers on higher level projects, like I mentioned before, you're not really going to be telling them what to do on a day-to-day basis, but you are going to want to set up some type of project management platform. It's important to note that these actually can be used for virtual assistants as well. We use them here at FreeUp. They help you to manage timelines, goals, and also communication. Personally, my favorite is Asana. That's what we currently use here at FreeUp. I've used it on a few other companies in the past as well. The user experience is just very effective for what our needs are. However, I've also used Trello and Monday.com in the past. Those two are great platforms as well. Getting familiar with platforms such as these, like what I mentioned, they'll help you understand who exactly is responsible for a task, when tasks are due. You can also communicate through the platforms as well. It just helps to really log all of that communication and get it in writing, like what I mentioned before. So the last point I'm going to talk about is communication. This applies to whatever freelancer you are working with, whether it's a virtual assistant or a PPC campaign manager. Make sure that all discussions about KPIs, requirements, and pay are done and finalized in writing. And not only that, check in with your freelancers as much as possible. Freelancers are people too, and they should be treated with respect no matter what, especially in situations like today with what's happening in the world. Make sure you're communicating with them. Make sure that they're doing okay. Building a genuine relationship with the people that you're hiring will save you time in the future. Ask them for feedback on on the processes. Ask them if there's anything that you think that, ask them if they think there's anything that they can do to make it better. And also always make sure that they have the resources that they need to be successful. I'm sure our team at FreeUp will know this is probably one of the #1 questions I ask them. Do you have everything that you need to be successful at your job? Because that's our responsibility. So that's the final, that's the overview of a lot of the frequently asked questions that we get that we wanted to make sure we were able to address with all of you guys. I'm happy I was correct in saying that this would take about 20 minutes. So if you, like what I mentioned before, if I wasn't able to answer any of your questions, or if Garrett wasn't able to answer any of your questions in the chat, just schedule a consultation with us. Freeup.net/meet. They're absolutely free. We have some awesome account managers here along with Garrett. You can also always send us an email too. Support@freeup.com is going to be the main one. You can email me directly at Mackenzie@freeup.com. Garrett's available at Garrett@freeup.com. I see this question a lot going on the chat. Yes, we will send out the slides. There will be a recording as well. We'll make sure to make that a resource available to you all. So I hope that we were able to answer a lot of your questions. Again, stay safe out there. We know there's a lot going on in the world. We're here to help you guys. Just reach out to us. We want to make sure that you have the best experience possible. We're making a lot of really great changes to FreeUp. You may have already noticed that we have rebranded. We have a lot of changes coming up to help both the client experience and the freelancer experience. If you ever have any feedback for us, never hesitate to reach out to us. So like what I mentioned, we'll make sure to send these slides out to you. And if you want any other resources, it's not a problem. Just ask us. We're here to help you all. Again, stay safe. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend. For those of you working remote, you got this, and we look forward to hearing from you. I hope you all have a great weekend.